Great. So we have a very young guy from the RBL Bank talking on the subject of rates, outlook, and gift city offerings. And I'm going to give his introduction. A dynamic young boy, if I shall say so, with your permission. Sagar is the head trading at RBL Bank. A very interesting profile. He brings with him over 15 years of experience spanning financial market and consulting while working with the likes of Axis Bank and Capgemini. He has been with RBL more than 10 years now and has been instrumental in building the treasury vertical from scratch. The bank has built the trading and ALM business under his leadership. In his current role, he oversees trading for FX, derivatives, and rates and equities. He's also been instrumental in setting up the bank's gift city. So, and one more introduction that I missed. He is an you'll have to help me out, I'm so sorry. You are please say that a bit louder. I really thank you so much. Thank you. And I really welcome Sagar. Please come on the stage and deliver your presentation. Looking forward to hear. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Maulik, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Almas, for giving us an opportunity to present our views. I'm very happy that most of the things which were discussed earlier, be it infra spending, be it HNI's facing problem, where to deploy money in a high inflation environment where Aarti ma'am was talking, or initially Mr. Biju sir were talking and Padmanabhan sir about the opportunities available at GIFT. So we would like to present our views, what we feel is the future or what is going to happen in the next decade. And we'll also discuss about the gift offerings. Yeah. So as I mentioned, we'll talk about rates. Then probably we talk about NDF and what the regulator has done for us. And then we look after the gift products. So basically, when we talk about interest rates, my personal view is that it is a very difficult product to trade on forecast, right? So when we talk about interest rates, let's take a view about this decade. The last decade, the world over, everyone is used to, rates staying low. Post the subprime crisis and the money printing by the Western banks, everyone in the world is used to rates being ultra low. Ultra low in the sense that if you look at European countries, rates have been negative. So basically our first view we feel is that there is going to be a commodity super cycle. This will now lead to a decade of higher inflation and higher rates. When we say higher rates, it is vis-a-vis the last decade. If you compare with the last decades, rates will remain higher versus the last decade. We'll come to it going forward. Now, you will see over the next 2-3 years, central banks reversing their ultra loose monetary policy. When they will reverse that, it will be complemented by loose fiscal policy by the governments. Basically, the world is addicted to loose money, so it has to come either via monetary policy or via fiscal policy. So once central banks start attacking on the inflation and start withdrawing the monetary policy, the government will come into action. That is where the infra theme which we discussed earlier, that will come into play. And this is a very good point. What will happen in India? There is going to be a decade of Capex Mahotsav in India. This term Capex Mahotsav I borrowed from recently from and addressed by Kumar Mangam Billa, what he feels what is going to happen in India. Right? So this is a chart of the Bloomberg Commodity Index. Right? As we can see that commodities move in a cycle. The fundamental reasons may be different every time. This was during the BRICS boom, we had an 8 to 10 year commodity cycle. Then post the subprime, we had a bust. Now again, post COVID, this will be going to a new era where we feel that the commodities will have a next 8 to 10 year cycle, wherein probably they will breach this new high and go forward and make a new highs. This is what our view is. We can call it post-COVID, we can call it XYZ, a new term will come. And if you go prior to this also, 1991, the roaring 1991, 1991 to 98, you had a big boom in commodities. That was followed by a bust 1998 to 2003. So it's been 1 year where we are all feeling, that commodity prices are rising too fast. We are saying that it has still a lot of steam left. Next 6-7 years, commodity prices are still going to be higher, and the world has to be ready for that. What are the implications for this is that whenever commodity prices go higher, Indian companies do well. Historically, if you see, all the Indian corporates do well, Indian companies do well. Also, if you see the Nifty 50 or the index constant, it may be totally different 10 years down the line. Currently, there's a lot of weight on consumer stocks. 10 years down the line, the old economic stocks will be doing well. They will have a far higher weightage as compared to computer stocks. There's a common term, right? Buy at any price. Probably those stocks are going to struggle and their weightage in the Nifty will reduce in this decade. So we feel that the old economic stocks will do well. Your cement, infra, XYZ, everything will do well. Whenever commodities go higher, India has done well. Of course, it has to be within the manageable inflation spectrum, and we have good regulators around who will manage it very well. This is what everyone will feel in the next decade, right? We are seeing that the CPI prints are coming in higher, right? World over, it is coming in higher. To react to that, the central banks will hike rates, but the hike in rates will be slower and shallower. The hike in CPI prints will be much higher as versus the central bank rates. Why is this that? Basically, the central banks for this decade will weigh and give more importance to growth versus inflation. So if you see the Fed language, they are going to talk hawkish. Everyone will feel that they'll start tapering, they'll do hawkish this. But if you see the actual action when it happens, we feel that it will be dovish. They will talk hawkish, they'll talk the markets, but then the actions will be dovish. So similarly, what we feel is that your shorter end of the curve will go much higher as compared to longer end. The longer end of the rates will be capped. And if you are corporate, if you wish to borrow, our view is that you should borrow at the longer end of the curve because the longer end of the curve will be capped. So world over, what we feel is that the inflation is going to come, right? And second thing, important thing which we have seen post-COVID is that people have now more propensity to spend rather to save. Zindagi na milegi dobara, right? Many have experienced this, even my friends and all. If you see the demand for a 20 to 25 lakh car is much higher as compared to a sub 10 lakh car. Why? Because COVID has changed people's life. People now want to spend. This is what is fueling everything, right? Your inflation, your growth, everything. And to attack that, all the regulators, be it RBI, be it Fed, they'll go slow because they don't want to spoil the growth party. So we feel that the rates will rise, but as compared to last decade, where it was 0 to negative, the rates will rise, but the rates will not be reach the 4 or 5% in the US, right? So central banks will be talk hawkish, act dovish, and the first step which from RBI we expect is that they will hike the reverse repo rate in the reserve policy and prepare the markets for gradual normalization. The actual repo hike will be far away, maybe 2-3 quarters down the line, but the first step would be hike in reverse repo rates. Now, this is a chart of the US 10-year yield for the last 40 years. If we see, the rates have been declining, right? They had gone to 0, they had been negative. So there will be a small rise only in these rates. That is what our view is. You may feel inflation, right? You may feel lifestyle inflation, as we call it, because everyone will start spending. People want to upgrade their lives, right? People feel that after COVID, if I have money, I have to spend. So you will feel lifestyle inflation. You will see rates going higher, but the rise in rates will be not commensurate to inflation. There will be negative real rates, which will fuel all your risk assets. So US 10-year, we feel that it will remain lower and slowly grow higher. Only once it closes about 3%, we can say that, the 40-year cycle has been negated and we can see a rise in rates. Now coming to the India 10-year. Similarly, we feel that the India 10-year in this talk about normalization, hawkishness, etc., 10-year may just hit it's currently at 635, 37. It may just go to 685 to 7 in this cycle and then stay range bound. We don't see that 10-year going back to the old highs of 8.5 to 9%. We feel that this is where it is. And if you see that locally our inflation is much better control shape as compared to global. Let's see how the outlook evolves going forward. Yeah. This is the next theme which we feel will happen in this decade. Once the central banks start removing liquidity, it will be complemented by fiscal spending by all the global governments. If you see already in US, they have already approved a package of about 1 trillion in infra spending. Locally, India has a package of around 1.5 trillion. So, and the Western world is used to freebies. So all the anything which was there, like monetary, whenever they will reverse, it will be complicated by fiscal spending. So that is being happening and that will keep on happening. And despite all this fiscal thing, we'll see longer end rates coming down. Like if you see yesterday, US 10-year has come down to 1.35 from 1.72. So despite all these things, the long end rates will remain capped. The most important theme for this decade will be the last line. Everything that cannot be printed will go up in value. When we say this, it is your real assets. Your real assets will have a massive boom this decade. Just in your 2003 to 7, you will see that the real assets will move because that is the only scarce commodity which cannot be printed. World over, there will be money printing, only that thing will go high in value. Now, you had a loose monetary policy that is followed by a fiscal policy. That is what we feel will culminate in a decade of capex Mahotsav. Your twin balance sheet problem is solved. The bad loans which the banks had, they are reduced. Corporates in a better way to, in a better debt to equity ratio, right? This will all lead to a major boom in India. This followed by the infrastructure spending, right? And we feel that banks will also start taking risks. Last 2 years, if you see, the banks have been shy in taking risks, right? Only banks are doing retail. But corporates will have kickstart the capex plans, and banks, along with banks, they will tie up and will have a major capex cycle in India, both publicly led by the government infrastructure spending plan and privately led by the corporates. What I want to highlight is the second last point, right? The old economy stocks, the cements, the infra, the real estate, they are going to reward investors. They will do very well in this decade. And if you are an inventor, you have to be in new economy, right? You are a create a Zomato, create a Swiggy, right? So this is going to be a theme of the decade. Invest in old economy stocks and create new economy. So basically our point is that this decade will belong to India, fueled by a capex cycle. So you can partner with us in various ways with RBL Bank. Basically, you can raise funds with us, take our advice, you can hedge your FX, right? And leverage our GIFT City products. Yeah. NDF market, as we were discussing, right? When I was a small trader, whenever I used to office, I used to check the page on Bloomberg OTCIN, right? Where all the NDF quotes used to come, and accordingly our markets used to happen. Thanks to our regulator, now they've allowed both Indian banks onshore and offshore via GIFT City to offer this product. So as a result, we can tap the huge NDF market opportunity which is there in front of us. And also, if you see, since June 20, since this has been allowed, the spread between the onshore and offshore, the spread has reduced significantly. So this NDF enablement by the regulator and the government's enabling of GIFT City creates a very unique win-win situation for both corporates and the banks. Basically, what is GIFT City, right? What is the advantage that banks have at GIFT City? Banks don't have CRR and SLR over there. Everyone is aware of that. We don't have regulatory ratios over there. So bank can basically lend cheap to corporate, right? So any corporate which wants to borrow, earlier used to borrow from, let's say, a Hong Kong branch or a Singapore branch, he can just come to here in GIFT City, local Indian bank, and borrow from us, right? So the banks will pass on their advantage to them. So please, this is a very good enablement done by the regulator. It was pushed via Mr. Narendra Modi ji since when he was a CM, right? The GIFT City was there. Once he became the PM, everything was in place and it's launched. And if you see a lot of structured deals, like Mr. Bijur sir was saying in the morning, a lot of structured deals are happening over there, like the AOD deal which he mentioned. Or if you want to remit your funds, currently you have to go to a foreign bank, right? But over here, you can do it via our Indian banks only. So there are a lot of products which can be done. So I'll go to the next slide. Yeah. So there are a lot of products which the corporates, if you are a corporate, right, you can partner with any bank and go with these products. If you have surplus foreign currency, you can be a depositor, right? You can deposit, open a fixed deposit over there, open a current account over there, or do a LRS remittance as Mr. Bijuru sir was saying. If you are a borrower, what are the advantages just from borrowing over there, right? You can get a cheaper cost of funds, so your borrowing will be lower. You can do our trade finance products. You can basically, banks can lend to any of your offshore JVs. You can do same derivatives transactions and your FX hedging via NDF via GIFT City, right? And there are some special products which are available, like if you want to do aircraft leasing, etc. It's better to do over there. In the morning while I was having breakfast, there was a confusion on, who, from few corporates, like, can I do a trade with GIFT City? So any of your offshore subsidiary, which is not in India but outside, they can transact and do any transactions, all these permissions via GIFT City. So all in all, this is a decade which belongs to India. It will have high inflation, it will have higher commodity prices, but it will be controlled via RBI, and expect that will not have any aging problems for this decade. So we expect that, the GDP per capita for India may go higher from currently 2,000 to probably 20,000 in this decade. And both banks and corporates can leverage this GIFT City to do a lot of business via the Indian IBU rather than doing it via offshore. Thank you.